So my history with One Piece is a little weird. As a kid, I kinda only had two modes. Either I was hyper obsessed with something, like Pokemon, Metabots, or Inuyasha, or you kinda just fell into the back of my brain where you'd be lucky to be thought of as your own series. So for example, I don't really remember One Piece, or Zatchbell, or Full Metal Alchemist. I have a weird, rotten memory of a show I watched with a big guy in a suit of armor who is accompanied by a little magical doll named Luffy. I literally just threw all three of them into a blender together because who cares? Yu-Gi-Oh! Is on in 5 minutes. Then I stopped consuming manga and anime for a while, getting back into anime in probably my preteen years where I decided to give One Piece another shot. I watched through up until the end of the Arlong arc, and then gave up. Round 3 came along a few years later after Nana and Kino's journey successfully convinced me that anime was one of the greatest storytelling mediums on Earth. But this time, I stopped watching after the Black Cat captain was defeated.
Are you kidding?
It just wasn't a series I was destined to enjoy. And this was before I was sucked back into reading manga, so at that point I thought I was just done. But when the trailers for Netflix's live-action One Piece started coming out, they got me very excited. Sure, it would just be the exact same thing I've watched 3 times now, but something felt different. So I joined up with a One Piece superfan, and we watched the series as fast as we could. And it turns out, every character I hated, I now liked. Every drawn-out sequence had its fat cut, and every character I already liked, I now love. I kept waiting for a "that sounds like blackmail" sort of situation like in Cowboy Bebop.
Sounds to me like blackmail.
You're damn right it is, because Jet, you are black and you are male.
But no, this show's solid. And it's not even just solid for a live-action comic adaptation. It's just a phenomenal show. Almost every choice feels like the right one. They do a wonky camera effect in some scenes that betray an anxious or closing in feeling, in scenes where that isn't really the vibe. But aside from that, it's just pure gold. I've been thinking about it every day. I'm binging One Piece content. I'm getting video ideas from One Piece YouTubers. Like, I don't like One Piece. What is happening to me? I've considered reading the manga. And I've put so much time into studying what works and doesn't work in manga storytelling to try and make Maidral as good as I can, but somehow I've ignored what's considered one of the best stories in human history. I can't say enough good things about this cast, this direction, the set and costume design. Mihawk is hot as fuck for no reason. Each episode is long enough that we get to see characters existing in the world before involving themselves in the plot. Oftentimes, something that's adapted from a long-running format into something shorter, like from a manga to an anime or live action, the small details are what's lost. Sometimes the opposite is true. Like, I'm a sucker for faintly hearing a newscast in the background of a show or movie that expands on the world or sets something up for later if you listen carefully, and manga can't really do that because by its nature every bit of text is forced into your face. But that's just me wanting to have my cake from Maidral and eat it too. But anyway, we often lose the ability to slowly build up characters before we just dive headfirst into the plot. But Netflix's live-action One Piece is so good at using their B-time to check in with what the Marines are doing or what the other pirates are doing. Buggy helps show us who Arlong is before he impacts anything. The Marines and the throwaway version of Don Krieg let us meet Mihawk and spend time with him, so when Zorro starts to challenge him, we actually understand why. And a lesser version of this show would have just cut out all of the Don Krieg stuff entirely, just to force Zorro to explain to us how Mihawk is the world's greatest swordsman, and he's also so good the Marines leave him alone. And he can also wipe out entire fleets, and he knows Shanks! And like, that would've just stunk. Because we would just have to sit there and listen to Zorro, who, like, I mean, I'll listen to Zorro all day, but we would have just had to listen to Zorro tell us all the shit that we could have seen if they just gave us the time. And thankfully, they gave us the time. But I want to take some time to look at some scenes that I really loved, and obviously the best starting point is with Buggy.
Buggy the Clown.
The sound design and camera work always feels so intentional in this show. It adds so much to an already incredible performance. The somehow light-hearted horror that is Buggy the Clown is constantly interrupted by the anger that just permeates his every thought. He's such a good first pirate for us to fight, rotten to the core, where one little mistake will set him off, clashing against Luffy, who couldn't be more chill around his crew. Now yeah, some pirates may be murderers, but Buggy makes sure to enjoy this torture. Luffy couldn't be more different from him, yet they're after the same goal. That's more than enough for Buggy to feel exciting to watch anyway, but the references to Shanks makes the whole world feel more connected. Now this might be a weird take, but remember, I only watched up to Arlong. I love Captain Kuro. I don't like Django or really any of the other Black Cats, but the my plan is perfect and I just can't comprehend when I'm wrong villain archetype always gets me. Because with the right actor, it just always works. Kuro has a sense of inevitability. He's locked the house, isolated Kaya, disposed of Luffy and Zorro, and is in no rush. Like a horror movie villain, he waits for Kaya to give herself away before he starts stalking his prey. TB Skyen has a really great video about Kuro that you should go watch. It's essentially a Why I Love episode. Some minor things in this section are how every time we cut back to Nami and Kaya bonding, they're sitting closer together, which is just really cute. And the shot of Usopp giving up hope only to look up and see Marine Cadet Kobe is so good. Even this early on, Kobe is a true Marine who looks out for those who can't defend themselves. The remaining two Black Cats definitely look a little bit wonky in live action, but their fight with Zoro is just fun to watch. Kuro's fight with Luffy is very satisfying, with his perfect plan quickly unraveling. He gets more and more desperate to win and loses the fight kinda on his own. Him losing faith in his plan is what finishes him. Someone like Kuro should have been able to reassess and find a way to beat Luffy, but he just can't do that.
I have business with your captain. If you know what's good for you, you'll hand him over.
So this will be a short one, but I love Mihawk. He's so cool. Every scene he's in is the best scene in the show. They toned down his design quite a bit for live action, and it really draws you to his eyes, hat, and beard instead of his jacket. So to me, it feels a lot less all over the place. His fight with Zoro might just be the longest unbroken fight in the show, which really helps sell that he's just kinda toying with Zoro, watching to see what he's capable of. He's not a cold-hearted killer like the Dawn Krieg scene would make us think. He has respect for those he finds interesting, and the injury he gives Zoro was the most effective emotional moment for me. It works better than Luffy giving Nami his hat, more than Kaya fighting back against Kuro, and a tiny bit more than Kobe showing us he's a true Marine. I think we could have done with one more episode. Compared to the main three, Usopp and especially Sanji feel like they joined the Straw Hat crew about 35 seconds before the final fight with Arlong, and I would have liked to see them work together a bit longer. This season starts off kind of slow, but then ramps up towards the finale in a very exciting way. I just wish that last 15% or so had a longer runtime. The set design is very packed, which is a choice that I quite like. Everything feels populated, and like everyone wants more than they have. With everyone so packed together, it makes sense why so many people are after the pirate life. The only casualty of this is the scene where Shanks gives Luffy the straw hat. If I'm remembering correctly, in the manga panel, and I think in the anime, it's very empty. It puts all of your focus on the moment and makes it feel more impactful. In the show, it's equally as tight and busy as the rest of the episode, and it doesn't feel like the moment out of time that it should. The message of the show resonates very deeply as well. Similarly to how Zom 100 brought out feelings of despair and hopelessness and anger that I have about my life and my future, One Piece fills me with hope for the future. You'd think watching this would give me the feeling of like, oh god, Maidrol's never gonna be this good. But instead, I was somewhat laughed at because I just proudly proclaimed, like, screw it, Maidrol's gonna be the next One Piece. Luffy inspires me to shout out my dreams in the world, regardless of how anyone else feels. Because it's your life. Work towards your dreams, so when it's over, you feel good about what you've done. Ugh. This is gonna get me to read One Piece, isn't it? Ugh, no! I don't have the time.